right. Well, we are here for the final video in the hackathon video series. This is going to be a guide to submitting your project, looking at kind of the rules, requirements, and all sorts of wrap-up information as we get ready for the deadline to actually submit, which is coming up on Monday, September 9th. So getting into the end times. I'm Alex. I'm here with Joao.
Everyone, nice to see everyone again. Yeah, finally after 9 or 8 weeks of development, we did a lot of content and a lot of videos here. This video will also go to our YouTube playlist where you can find all the other sessions that we did. And this is the final one where we'll go over on basically how you can submit your project for evaluation and hopefully get a prize for it.
Awesome. Well, let's dive right in, and we're first going to take a look at the submission requirements.
So, as Alex said, basically the submission deadline is next Monday, September the 9th. Okay, make sure that the submission is done through the DevPost website. We'll go on a step-by-step on how you can do that. Really double check that you meet all the requirements to submit the project. There are a series of rules. We'll explain some of them over here, but there are more rules on the website. Really make sure you go through them so that you can submit your project and it actually goes towards the judging phase that we'll have. Okay. Make sure that your project has been built with the required developer tools. Take a look at the Metagraph track and the tooling track. They have different requirements. So really make sure that you went through all the requirements there. And this is a really important one. While we are filling up your submission, make sure that you explain what your project is about in a concise and clear manner. We have different judges, so the more clear you are explaining your project, the better your chances are that you be able to get a prize at the end. Other of the rules that we have here, and this is a really important one, is make sure you provide an URL to your public code repository. Okay, put it on GitHub or any other platform there. This is really important for judging and especially for testing. Okay, also make sure you include an open source license and installation and run instructions. In our first judging phase, we are going to try and run your project. So if your instructions are not clear or they are not there, this could make so that your project is not going to the next phase. So this is really, really important. Make sure it's public and make sure you have the instructions on how to run. Okay. And on top of that, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I can just say on that portion, there's multiple ways that you can do that. You could either, within your project README on your repo, you could include installation instructions so that we can go through and install everything we need and have it up and running, make sure it's running that way. Or if you want to just submit a complete functioning environment, you can submit a Docker container that has everything already set up and ready to go. So it's really up to you, but we do need to be able to see that this project is actually running in some way.
Perfect. Also, if you have a functioning site or a functioning example that the judges can interact with, feel free to provide that URL. That's definitely a plus, not mandatory, but definitely a plus for your submission there. Also, we do require that you create a short video of your project. You don't need to go over 5 minutes, okay? This needs to be short and clear and that it's uploaded to a public platform like YouTube or Vimeo, okay? On the video, really do explain what your project functions are, the potential to impact the Constellation ecosystem, and make sure that you're really being as detailed as possible and that you allow us to understand what your vision is. Okay, so this video is an opportunity for you to sell your project to us and the judges and can really make a difference on your submission. In terms of the judging, so basically we'll have 2 phases here. We have 12 different judges with really diverse backgrounds. Once again, that's why we need you to be clear on explaining what your project is, because we have people with some technical background, people with more of a product background. So the more clear you are to all the steps of your project, the better for your chances to get a prize. And so, as I said, there are two phases here. The first one is where we are going to take a look at your requirements and make sure that everything is there, that you make appropriate use of the APIs and SDKs, that you submitted all the information that you need, that you have put the installation instructions for your code. It's a public repository. So this is a very important phase, because if you are failing any of these steps, you'll probably not go into the second phase, which is where we have actually our judges are going to be taking a look at the submissions and evaluating them according to the judging criteria that Alex is going to explain on the next slide.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, it's really important you kind of look at the whole list of rules, make sure you're following everything. It's not that long of a list, but we do need to make sure that all the projects are fulfilling those requirements, and if they're not, they won't even make it to be seen in front of the actual judges. Will be weeded out at that first step. So just be really careful about that. And then we can go through quickly our judging criteria. So there's just 5 total judging criteria. All these are weighted equally. So you really want to make sure that you hit as many of these as you can, score as high in each of them as you can. The first is technical difficulty and implementation. So we're looking at how difficult was this project? Is it a complex implementation? Is this something really challenging that you were able to achieve with the tooling available? Next is technical readiness. So this is looking at how close this project is to being able to launch to mainnet, to launch as a fully functioning product or application that users would actually use. So you may have a very technically difficult project that you only kind of got part way in. You probably score highly in technical difficulty, but lower in readiness because there's still some pieces left to implement. I should mention also that that's fine if your project is not 100% done. Please submit it anyways. But we do look at that readiness criteria as one of the things the judges score. Next criteria is impact on the ecosystem. So if this is a tool that's really going to help a lot of other developers in the ecosystem, that would score highly in this category. The other thing that would score highly in this category is a use case that hasn't been done before, that would really kind of showcase something to help others see a vision of what they could be building and really help adoption. So this is just sort of how big of a splash is this going to make in the ecosystem compared to other projects. Somewhat related is the next criteria, which is novelty and innovation. So is this a brand new idea, something really innovative, something that you came up with, or some new way to do something that others have done in a different way? So really, is this brand new? Is this exciting? Or versus the other side of that would be if you're just maybe copying what someone else has done, that's not very innovative, but still maybe a good project. And the final criteria we have is product market fit and user experience. So this is really covering how nice is this project to use? Do users want to use it? Is it a good experience? And does it fit for whatever use case it's trying to cover? So will users want to use it because it's a useful product fulfilling a useful or a real need? And will users want to use it because it's a nice user experience? All wrapped up in there. So for this next portion, what we're going to do is just go through the submission project or process, I should say, through the website, and just explain what each of the fields means, what judges are going to use that for, just give a little extra context for all these portions that you will be submitting. So I guess the first thing actually I want to show is so we're on the Metagraph DevPost hackathon site. There is this tab up here called Rules. So this is where you're going to see all the specifics around rules, eligibility requirements. It's all outlined here. It feels a little bit long, but there's not actually that much there. So definitely take a look at that and make sure you're following all of those requirements. So back on the main overview tab of the site, there's this create project link. So this is where you're going to go to submit your project. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And then we can just walk through all these fields. So project name, of course, pretty self-explanatory. What do you want to call it? Elevator pitch. If you have, if you have to explain your project in a short 200-character form, what does that look like here? So just make that really concise. And a thumbnail. So this would be used in the gallery when the projects are made public after submission. What do you want your project to look like in that sense? So what we have here is the project story. They give some examples here, sort of categories that you could discuss: inspiration, how we built it, all these things. These are all just these are all just suggestions, so you don't have to really follow this format if you don't want to, but it's a good way to start. So just lay out exactly what your project does, why it's important, what the development process was like, how it integrates with the network. This is a good place for kind of the full picture that maybe is a long form version of what you couldn't quite fit in 5 minutes in the video.
Yeah, I think that's a very important one because it sets the stage for what's going to be evaluated. So if you really dig on this one and explain why you're building this, why do you think this is a good submission, this can help you score more points on the judging criteria there, because you're telling the story on how you came here. And this is really important for us to understand exactly what the context of this is. Maybe this project is because of something that's happening in your country. Maybe this is an issue you faced on sometimes in your life and you're trying to solve it. So really bring on what drove you to build this project and try to score some points with it.
Yep. And also a good place to think about those judging criteria. This would be a good place to explain what impact you think this is going to have on the ecosystem, why this is innovative. All that stuff would fit really well into this long form kind of about the project section. So built with, you can just list a bit of your tech stack here. Not the most important, but good to kind of get some background on what you built. Try it out links. This would be a good place to put a link if you have a live demonstration of that, that's something that we can log into. You can put the URL there. It would also be a good idea to put that within your about the project section, and try to remember, if you submit a demo site and it requires a login, make sure you provide a login. Otherwise, no one's going to be able to do anything with it other than kind of see that login page. So project media, this is a good place to kind of show off any design or kind of visual impact that you've done as part of the project. So you can drop in multiple images here and really kind of show off the visual part of your project. Video demo link. So this is 100% a requirement. This is going to be a really, really important part of putting your project in front of the judges and explaining what it does, and demoing that this function actually works, and kind of seeing it all fit together. So this should be, YouTube is the easy choice. If you prefer a different host, that's fine too. Facebook, Vimeo, whatever works, but it needs to be public, and explain your explain your project concisely. The judges are only required to look at the first 5 minutes. So if you put a really long 30-minute video here, some might see that, but I think the majority are going to not watch that far. So really try to keep it towards 5 minutes and a really concise view of what you're bringing.
Make it about your projects also. Like really focus on your project. That's the goal here. It's for you to showcase what you built or what you're building, and really focus on that in this video. That's what we want to see on them.
Okay, so we're in this additional info section. This is a place that you can upload files. So one use of this, you can kind of use it as you see fit, but one use of this is if you wanted to format your description of your project, you could format that as a PDF. You could upload that here, especially if you have some sort of like longer existing content, like a white paper or a full tokenomics description. Those can be uploaded as individual files here, and really helps with the formatting. When the judges look at this, it's going to be a lot easier for them to take in. And then submission track, you've got two options, Metagraph. So Metagraph project would be you built a Metagraph code base. So that has a very specific definition. You're going to need to have show the code base that proves that. You would have used Euclid SDK to build that. And then tooling. Tooling is essentially everything else. So anything that interacts with Constellation via DAG or with Metagraph tokens or developer tooling. This is really a much more open-ended category. And so if it's not a Metagraph, it's likely tooling. And then a code base URL. So this is super important. I think, yeah, we covered in the slides previously that you need to have your code hosted on GitHub or some sort of similar public repository. It needs to have an open source license, free use license. And so you need to put that link here. If you don't share the code, then we're not able to really evaluate the project. And then we have a few kind of more specific sections here. So this is maybe a little bit of overlap with the kind of about your project section, but these are a little bit more targeted. So first, just describe your project. And we're really thinking kind of functionally here. What does it do? How does it work? This is beyond the kind of marketing and big idea of it, but how does this actually function? Then we have use of Metagraph or hypergraph technology. So if your project, is it's a game, or it's some sort of other thing that's a little bit tangential to Metagraphs or the network in general, just really describe specifically how you used either DAG and the hypergraph or a Metagraph and integrated it into your project.
I think that is a good place to put all the features that maybe you were not able to show in the video or that you didn't showcase yet. I think you can really be detailed on this section on everything that is available in your project. So I don't think it hurts to be really detailed, and it's actually an advantage to do so in here.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the more important sections, because the judges are really looking at how did you use Metagraph technology or integrate with a hypergraph specifically. It's really targeted. It's great if you did something kind of technically difficult outside of that integration, but the main kind of judging on the technical difficulty is going to be around what you actually did with building a Metagraph or integrating with a hypergraph. So the next field we have is tokenomic description. So this is an optional field. When you launch Metagraph, you have the option to launch a token along with that. And if your project includes a token, this would be a good place to describe what your tokenomics are. So what your minting schedule looks like, how those tokens are used, and really just kind of break down what this would look like if it was a real token.
And I think it's good to remind everyone that we have a special prize for the best tokenomics. So it is worth it if you create a token to invest a little bit of time on explaining the tokenomics around those tokens. How does it work? Is it sustainable? What the goal is? Because there's a special price for it, so you can get some points there also.
Yeah, and I would say even if your project doesn't implement some of the tokenomics, having a fully thought out idea of how those tokenomics would work is really a good thing, and could potentially even win you that best tokenomics prize. And then final category is launch plans. This is an important one because it really goes to project readiness. Also, like, is your project actually thinking about launching as a Metagraph on mainnet or tooling otherwise? And then this is another place to think about some of the kind of secondary benefits that we have available as part of the hackathon. Projects that have launch plans and want to go to mainnet and are fairly ready, they could be fast-tracked for grants through Stardust Collective. Many of the, or several of the judges, I think about half the judges, maybe a third of the judges on the panel are members of Stardust Collective. So all this will just really fast-track those potential actual launch plans for later if you want to make this real production application. And then finally, I'm not sure why this is the very last question, but your country of residence is important. There are different rules and regulations around hackathons in different countries. And one of the things that's going to happen after, kind of during that first phase of judging, is verification, making sure that you're in the country that you say you are, that you're following those rules. Some countries have difficult rules. Brazil being one of them. Joao's in Brazil, and unfortunately, Brazil we can't support due to some of the really strict regulations around these competitions. Very unfortunate. But yeah, so make sure you fill this out accurately. If you don't fill it out accurately, then you won't be eligible for a prize anyway. So there's really no reason to be dishonest there. And so yeah, I believe final one, you just
the most important step, right? You need to submit your project.
Yeah, so sign away all potential rights and whatnot, but no, just agree to the terms and conditions and submit your project. I should mention, you do have the opportunity to update your project once you've submitted it. And so, if you submit a little bit early, we're trying to go through and reach out to any projects that are missing something that could potentially, hey, this is a reasonable project, but you're missing a video link or the open source license, things like that. We'll try to work with you. So if you submit this a little bit early, you do have the opportunity to edit it, and we'll try to make sure to update it. Kind of review and have a conversation with you about the requirements, so you're not unnecessarily rejected. So that's the submission project process. So I think pretty straightforward. Just fill out all the questions. Honestly, try to give detail, make sure it's real clear for someone who's coming in with no context, right? The judges don't know anything about your project. So make sure that you can kind of give them all the information there. And then this is probably a good time. Let's just review the prizes that are available. When you're writing your description, you're doing your video, you might want to target some portions of that to just really outline the things that might get you some of these, make you a contender for some of these prizes. So the first category of prizes we have is in the Metagraph track, first through fifth place, all the way from $25,000 for the first place prize down to $5,000 for the fifth place prize. So really a lot of money up for grabs there. So do your best work and put your best foot forward at the submission. Same thing with tooling. We've got just first through third on that, so a little bit less value there, but still $7,500 for the first place, down to $2,500 for third place. This is all in US dollars, but will be distributed in DAG. So just a note. And then we kind of get into the interesting prizes here. These can be won in addition to any of the Metagraph or tooling placed prizes, and you can win multiple on a single project. It's not a one per person. So the first is greatest ecosystem impact. This would be likely the project that's going to score the highest on that particular judging criteria across the board. But which project do the judges think is really going to make a big splash within the ecosystem, regardless of other criteria. Most creative use case. So really want to shine a light on creativity here. If you really thought of something cool, regardless of how far you got with the project and how much is implemented, you might win this most creative use case category. And then we've got greatest token utility. This is really going to come down to what kind of description you put in your tokenomics section of that submission. So really make sure you have that well targeted. I think you'd probably be favored a little bit on this project if you've implemented some of that functionality, but even just kind of a really good plan there might put you in the running for this one. Next is the Social Good Award. So if some portion of your project is really going to make the world a better place, we want to make sure that that's visible and that we are showing that we support that. So again, that comes down to really the idea and some of the other kind of mechanics of how your project will work. So is the idea something that could help the world in general, and then are the mechanisms that you've implemented really going to be effective at actually achieving that? We've got best use of data. So best use of this would be, how are you processing data within your metagraph? Metagraphs are really perfect, flexible framework for handling data, for handling kind of different kinds of data that then would be easy to handle within most blockchain environments. And so this one is really targeted at that. So it's going to be your idea, but also the implementation, how you use the Metagraph framework to handle data in some sort of useful way. We've got best cross-chain implementation. So this one's really targeting projects that are working, to do something between Constellation and some other ecosystem. We've got one judge coming from the Algorand ecosystem, so that's an option. You might target that, but it could really be any other ecosystem, or even depending what kind of submissions there are, even sort of cross metagraph interactions, metagraphs of their own chains. So that could be something there as well.
I'll explain the last one.
Yeah,
the DGen award. I would say this is probably for the craziest submission here, or the craziest concept. We do have the most creative use case. I think the DGen is more around the gamification, the creating a new concept on how users are going to interact on chain or with our on-chain tools. So it's really that out of the box crazy use case that you build either on Metagraph or tooling. So we are really looking for like the over-the-top creativity or over-the-top gamification on exploring the features that our blockchain allows you.
Yep, you could win this for just objectively bad ideas, meme tokens, all sorts of cases that are like, hey, that's not really what this is for, but it might be fun. So that's really what that's targeting for. If you're, I guess you probably already know what this is if you're the kind of person that is going to win the award. So just go for it, be crazy, have fun with it, and we're hoping to find a good one with that. And then finally, honorable mention. We've got $5,000 prizes that they can really go to any category, so they could overlap with some of these other ones, but they wouldn't overlap with the first through third or first through fifth place Metagraph and tooling track prizes, but just ones that we thought, hey, that was cool, that we didn't fit in the other categories. So we'll get some sort of prize, and there's a lot to go around. And I think given that is sort of a good point I want to bring up, is that if you started a project, you got somewhat into it, and you realized you couldn't finish it, there's not enough time, or it's just not going to fully work, please submit the project anyways. Give it a good description, good details, explain kind of how far you got and what obstacles you ran into. You'd definitely be still eligible for one of these honorable mention prizes. I guess I should say also, you can submit multiple projects. So we've had several people ask that of, hey, I already submitted one, can I submit this other tooling thing I was working on the side or whatever? Absolutely. So please submit, and we'll sort through, and hopefully have prizes for a lot of people that, or we'll definitely have prizes for a lot of people that submit, but hopefully can use some of these honorable mention ones to reward people that put some good effort in, but maybe didn't get 100% way there.
It's a lot of prizes here. I think it's just give it a shot, and you might be able to get some. Even the description the inspiration for why you're participating or building this could deserve an honorable mention. So really give us whatever work you've done, and we'll evaluate it and see if you deserve any of these prizes.
Yep, absolutely. So I think that's it. So just to reiterate, submission deadline is Monday, September 9th. So make sure you get all of your submissions in by then. In the meantime, there are still resources available. So we check your email. We keep sending a link, but there's a Calendly link available if you want one-on-one help with a member of the core team who can help you with some technical, work through some bugs and deal with some technical issues. That's still available to book those through the rest of this week. Time's getting short though, because they won't work on the weekend. So just get that in. We have there were two office hour sessions, one last week and one this week. I believe when this video is live, the second office hours will already be available to everyone. So check those out. And then of course we're going to be available in Discord even all through the weekend. I know people are like to be last minute, and so we'll definitely be available for any last minute questions all the way up until the deadline. So yeah, I guess any last words, Joao?
No, I just want to say that this was a great experience to come up with this hackathon, creating all this support. The team is really available on Discord for any questions that you have. And I would also like to add that probably some people will see this video after the hackathon is finished. Okay, but as at Constellation, we are always looking for people that want to build something cool, something that's important, or just a simple use case. So even if this hackathon is over, feel free to go to our Discord, reach out to us with your project. There are other venues and other ways for you to deploy on our network. We have some programs that can support you on making your vision come true. So definitely, if you are seeing this before the submission, make sure you submit your project. If you are seeing this after the submission period, after the hackathon is over, feel free to reach out to us and come up to us with your idea. We'll definitely help you on making it come true.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. I think final note is just big thank yous. Thank you to everybody that has participated so far. I know some of you are still working, we'll work through the weekend and get stuff submitted, but thank you for all the effort that you're putting in. Also, big collaboration here between Constellation core team and Stardust Collective. Stardust Collective, has been a really huge help. They put up half the prize money and are participating in judging and a lot of the promotion and things as well. So really want to say thank you to Stardust Collective, and yeah, happy hacking, and good luck everybody.